Let me just start to start my talk with the outline. Very briefly, I will talk about our approach to the study and the goals that we tried to achieve. I will describe the test set that we used. Then I will talk about the tool reports and our analysis. And I will point out problems with the analysis and conclude with future plans. So, but first, unfortunately, I have to put this slide, and this is important for if you take anything from this talk, it should be this. In particular, our analysis of the tool reports was incomplete, simply due to the lack of resources. We had some problems with the criteria for analysis, and I'll explain them later. There are outright mistakes in our analysis, and also the use of the tool in real life is somewhat different. Users write special rules, they suppress false positives, and they learn to write code in certain ways that minimizes tool warnings. And also, there are many other factors besides warnings in particular lines of code that we didn't consider. So to say this caution is not to use our analysis to rate or choose the tools. So what questions we tried to answer? First, what weaknesses exist in real programs, and what do tools report for the real programs? And we focus on tools that work on source code, and we focus on defects that may affect security. Some tools may focus more on the quality issues, and that wasn't the focus of our study. Our goals of this study is to first of all, enable empirical research based on large test sets, which we produced. And second, encourage improvement and adoption of tools. And there were some problems with this from this study. So, but again, I want to emphasize this. The focus was not to choose the best tools, was not to rate tools. So a good way to describe the study briefly is to give a timeline that we used. So we chose the test programs, 6 test programs, 3 in C and 3 in Java, and I'll describe them in detail later, and provided them to tool makers. Tool makers ran their own tools on the test sets and returned the reports to us. Then we had 6 weeks to analyze the tool reports, and in retrospect, that was clearly was not enough. And then the tool makers had 2 weeks to critique our analysis, and we updated our analysis based on the critique. And again, here there are this 2 weeks there, 2 weeks here. It turned out to be too little time based on the amount of work, and this caused problems in the analysis. I will describe it later. Then we met at the static analysis workshop in June to discuss the result, the tool reports and our analysis, and we intend to publish the data in December. So now to talk about participants. There were 9 participants, 9 tool makers, and I'll list them now with some details. So aspect security, you would say, oh, that's not even a tool. Yeah, that's right. But they still they produce data in the format that's that we requested. So that we said it's okay. They did, of course, manual review, and they only did the static part, the static review. The checkmarks CX suite. Flow Finder, my colleague Romain Gocher ran it. Fortify source code analyzer, Grammatech code sonar, DevInspect from HP, They have a hybrid tool, but they used only static part of their tool for SATE. Soft check inspector for Java, find bugs, and VeraCode security review. Again, it's not, strictly speaking, not a tool, it's a service company, but they use tools internally. And so each of those 9 participants provided reports in the required format. So if you can return reports in the required format, then you can participate in this study. And it was interesting to see different kinds of participants because they find different things. They look for things differently. Now about the test cases. We had 2 tracks. For C track, we chose this Lighty, Nagios, and Name. And for Java track, we chose DSpace, MVN Forum, and OpenNMS. All of them are open source programs, and we try to choose them so each one has some aspects relevant to security. This is the size of the programs. It ranges from about 20,000 lines of code to about 130,000 lines of code. The Java programs are somewhat larger, mostly due to the nature of the language. Some properties of the test cases. 4 of the programs have web interface. 3 of the Java programs and also Nagios. So those are interesting security errors to look at, but they may not be focus of some of the tools. The tools that may focus more on other types of applications. We found that the design was decent, but not much attention in some of the test cases. Not much attention was paid to security. We also chose to take stable versions of the software, and that was somewhat of a mistake because the developers of the test cases would have preferred us to choose the latest version because the feedback would have been more relevant. And OpenNMS specifically had a lot of warnings, and that biased the study and caused us many problems. In order to do the study, we had to have some common format. So we produced one sort of lowest common denominator of the tools that we looked at. So, of course, the tool for each weakness, it has to report 1 or more location. And so if it's just 1 location, then it's that. Otherwise, it could represent a trace in the program. It reports a name of the weakness, and we also encourage tool makers to report a CWE ID because that simplifies comparison. We ask them to rate the issues on severity from 1 to 5, with 1 the highest. Probability that the problem is